Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and welcome to our football construction site as we build a team through the NFL draft. You always hear others say that this particular draft is weak, or wait until next year to take this particular position, or the NFL draft is an inexact science, but we at Football Game Plan believe that all three of those statements are huge myths, and we're here to show you why as we go through 7 rounds of the NFL draft and pick players to make each NFL team better. But before we get started, let's take a look at the mock draft rules. You have to remember that the selections that you see in this mock draft will be based off of Football Game Plan Scouting player rankings, which you can find on our website at youtube.com/footballgameplan or footballgameplan.com/FBGP scouting. They're also based off what I would do as the general manager, not what I think they'll do, not what they have done or what they will do, but what I would do if I were the GM, and also what I believe are the team needs. So not what other people may think the team needs are. If I think they need a quarterback, then I'm gonna take a quarterback. That's how it's going to go for this mock draft. So it's time to put on my GM hat and let's get started in building up the NFL. The Redskins have 10 selections in this year's draft, and I started off with a bang by landing them the top inside backer in the class in Alabama's Reuben Foster. He'd be a day one starter and a stud that'll help the Skins be much better versus the run. Staying on the defensive side of the ball with LSU's Tre'Davious White, I think White fits here as a slot corner because of his footwork. He's a great mirror and match guy that does a great job in space. Moving on to round 3, Washington grabs quarterback Brad Kaaya out of Miami. Now, we don't know what they plan to do with Kirk Cousins, but at least they grab a guy for the future that has started a ton of games in college and has been very productive throughout his collegiate career. I think this will be actually a great fit for Brad Kaaya. The Redskins add an explosive talent at tight end with Adam Shaheen out of Ashland. Jordan Reed is the guy in Washington, don't get me wrong, but he does get injured often, and having a solid number 2 option that's also just as dangerous of a threat like he is would be wise. Shaheen would be a steal at this point of the draft because of his upside. With their second pick in the 4th round, Tariq Cohen out of North Carolina A&T was just too good to pass up. He's the reincarnation of Darren Sproles. He's fast and agile in all directions. I like him in a featured role, but knowing how the NFL operates, he'll probably end up being a complimentary guy and a special teamer, but he'll be dynamic in any role they ask him to be. Gabe Marks out of Washington State is the best route runner in this year's receiving class. He plays as quick as he is out of his cuts and can work well at all levels of the field. I added help along the offensive line with the first of 2 6th-round picks. Jonathan McLaughlin had a solid week of work at the East-West Shrine game and was also able to hold his own throughout his career as a Hokie. Adam Jones of Northwestern State plays a lot like Darren Sharper. He's versatile enough to play either safety spot and has the range and ball skills to be a true center fielder. And he's also an enforcer in the running game and when receivers travel over the middle of the field. This is a prospect that I think has a chance to wow if given the opportunity. Cameron Tom adds quality depth along the offensive line. I really like what he brings to the table from an athletic standpoint. And rounding out this draft for the Washington Redskins, Denzel Keys of North Carolina A&T was one of my favorite receiver prospects to watch. He attacks the ball like Dez Bryant and doesn't mind playing the physical game over the middle of the field. With Terrell Pryor on a 1-year deal, it would make sense to add another tall target who can also play above the rim to this receiving core. So that's a wrap for this edition of Building Through the Draft. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. And if you want to watch our other NFL team 7-round mock drafts, and you already should, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan, where you can catch all of our FBGP scouting prospect ranking videos. Also, subscribe to Football Game Plan podcast on iTunes.